Well, good morning. It's Brent Adams here with your Rural Strong Morning Ag Report for this Thursday, November 16th, the 320th day of 2023. Coming to you from the 80th Annual National Association of Farm Broadcasting Convention at the Weston Crown Center in Kansas City. Leading off the headlines this morning, artificial intelligence on the farm is no longer a sci-fi dream, but a reality. But there are costs as well as benefits, as the Senate Ag Committee heard at a recent AI hearing. The benefits are clear, according to UC Davis's Mason Earls, who co-leads the USDA-funded AI Institute for Next Generation Food Systems.
These national AI institutes are working on programs that aim to relieve labor shortages via AI-driven robotic harvesters and tree crops, monitor the health and stress of livestock using AI-enabled sensors, and predict climate and crop risk by building AI-accelerated models that could eventually be used to precisely control irrigation and nutrient emitters.
And surgically targets weeds with herbicides. But with more technology comes more risks. Josie Marie Griffiths, president of Dakota State University.
Just before Russia invaded Ukraine, we saw pictures of tractors stuck in fields, unable to move because the systems had been attacked. And that created an impetus for us to do some work on trying to protect farm vehicles from similar kinds of attack that could occur from unfriendly states.
Deere & Company's Chief Technology Officer Jamie Hinman says the Moline, Illinois firm already builds security into its software.
We then look towards external partners to help us do things like penetration testing. We partner with white hat hackers. HackerOne would be an example where we do a bug bounty program. We pay for ethical hackers to try to hack into our systems and expose vulnerabilities before they become public so that we can remedy those.
And Hinman says producers have the final say on data privacy, but more research is needed in the rapidly growing field, something lawmakers may consider as part of the next farm bill. Well, Competitive Markets Action and the Organization for Competitive Markets applauded the House of Representatives for passing H.R. 6363, which included a one-year extension of the current farm bill. Quote, "We applaud Speaker Mike Johnson and House leadership for swiftly passing the bill by an overwhelming margin in the chamber closest to the American people," says Marty Irby, president of the Competitive Markets Action. "We are grateful to Ag Committee Chairman Glenn G.T. Thompson for securing an extension of the Farm Bill through fall of 2024, end quote. They also say the maneuver offers ample time and opportunity to get the job done right. We also hope the House and Senate leaders will produce a new farm bill that brings clarity to the marketplace by preventing the nullification of countless state and local agriculture laws that some legislators are seeking to wipe out," Irby adds. "We're hoping to bring some significant reform to USDA's commodity checkoff programs." Well, food price inflation is continuing to abate. More from USDA Radio's Gary Crawford.
The government is out this week with its Consumer Price Index report tracking inflation during October.
Overall, this was a good report for consumers.
Agriculture Department economist Megan Schweitzer says for all goods and services, zero inflation last month. But she says prices for food did inch up a bit, but only by 0.3%, and up by just 2.1% from where they were in October a year ago. So food price inflation is cooling down. Schweitzer says prices for several major food groups are currently selling for less than October a year ago. Products including
eggs,
down 22%.
Fresh vegetables,
down about 2%.
fish and seafood,
down about 1%.
and dairy products.
Those costing about 0.5% less than this time last year. So we did not see big price hikes for most food categories.
But what we did see was stronger price growth for meats this month.
Especially beef. Those prices have gone up every month this year and are now about 9% higher than this time a year ago. Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Well, the USDA's annual look at trends in rural America indicates a trend of increased overall rural population. More on that from USDA Radio's Rod Bain.
A positive trend in rural population growth of late.
The rural population has continued to grow since 2020. The Census Bureau data shows the rural growth of 0.25% from July 2020 through June of 2022.
USDA economic researcher Jim Davis is among the authors of the 2023 edition of its Rural America at a Glance report released Wednesday. As for the significance of the trend of population growth in our nation's rural areas,
This continues an important turnaround in population growth from the decade of 2010 to 2020, where annual growth rates were either negative or near zero.
as for the why behind the rise in rural population as a whole,
We found rural growth was due primarily to net domestic migration from urban to rural areas.
in total, Davis cites 5 main takeaways from this year's Rural America at a Glance report, which also focuses on categories such as rural poverty and housing and clean energy. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
And finally, this year's Thanksgiving Day dinner won't be as hard on the checkbook as it was in 2022. However, the meal will still reflect historically high costs. The American Farm Bureau Federation's 38th annual survey provides a snapshot of the average cost of this year's holiday feast for 10, which is $61.17, or less than $6.20 per person. This is a 4.5% decrease from last year's record high of $64.05, but a Thanksgiving meal is still 25% higher than in 2019. The centerpiece of a traditional meal is turkey, which helped bring down the overall cost. A 16-pound turkey averages $27.35, or $1.71 per pound, down 5.6% from 2022. Cranberries took the sharpest drop as a 12-ounce bag averages $2.10, down 18% from last year. The cost for a classic meal was the cheapest in the Midwest at $58.66. The Northeast was the most expensive at a cost of $88.43. Well, you can keep up with the latest in the world of agriculture by subscribing to the Tractors and Troubadours podcast from Rural Strong Media. Each week, we bring you agriculture industry newsmakers, hot-button industry issues, educational features, and the best in traditional country music. The Tractors and Troubadours podcast can be found at ruralstrongmedia.com or wherever you get your podcasts. We also invite you to join us daily on Rural Strong Radio, our 24/7 streaming radio station, found at ruralstrongmedia.com or the Live 365 streaming radio app for your mobile device. Each day, we bring you our award-winning agriculture programming, as well as the best in traditional country music, mixed in with a little bluegrass, western swing, southern rock, and inspirational music. Again, the place to find it all is ruralstrongmedia.com or the Live 365 streaming radio app. Hey, we're portable, so take us with you everywhere you go while you're working on the farm or ranch. We'll get you through those long, challenging days. Well, we'll be back again tomorrow from the 80th National Association of Farm Broadcasting Convention in Kansas City. Until then, make it a great day, everybody.